How many points of view does your story need? I'm Karen Beery with Right Now Editing, where we turn good manuscripts into great books.
And I'm Pegg Thomas, award-winning author and editor, and we are two editors for 5 minutes,
And
more or
today, for
less.
5 minutes, for 5 minutes, we're going to talk about how many point of view characters your book needs.
So, Karen, how many point of view characters does a book need?
As many as it needs. That's one of the frustrating things about fiction for a lot of people is there are so many rules, and there are so many not hard and fast rules as well. Kind of the sad catch-all answer to so many things is it depends.
Absolutely depends. And some of it depends on the maturity of the writer. Because if you're an early writer, fewer point of view is better. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes skill to be able to weave multiple points of view together. And, until you're Brandon Sanderson, I certainly wouldn't try 12 to 15 point of view characters.
And one of the reasons that's so important is because it's not enough to create a character and have them talk and act. Each character has to have their unique personality, their unique quirks, their unique voice style of speaking. If you have grandpa, they should sound different than his 5-year-old granddaughter. If they're using the same words, there's a problem. So when you're going to write point of view characters, they have to be well developed, well thought out, and you really need to be able to step into their shoes to present the world the way that these characters see them, which is why
Here's a good example. Let me give a good example of that before you move on, because you're talking about good separate. This is a book I edited not too long ago where every single character in the book straightened their shoulders. Now, that is a physical action, and it's a legitimate physical action. But when every single character does it, there was a dog in the story. I think I actually said to the author, I'm expecting the dog to straighten his shoulders next. Be careful of that. Now you're making them all act alike. They not only have to sound different, they have to act different. They have to be who they are. You have to make them so completely their own character that the reader can tell who it is before you put the dialogue tag on.
And that's going to be even little things. I write a lot of romance. So when I slip into the point of view male character, he is going to appreciate the girl's pink shirt. When the girl puts the shirt on, she's going to put on her fuchsia shirt because she knows the difference between the pinks. And he doesn't, because that's part of their personality. So like Peg said, with straightening their shoulders, someone might straighten their shoulders, someone else might pull their shoulders back. It's the way that they've heard it. And I know a lot of people, your dad has told you this is how you sit down, and there's just different things that you hear. You're going to plop on your bottom, or you're going to sit on your bottom. There's all of those little quirks make up personality, and every point of view character has to have those quirks. So as far as the different genres, Peg, you can tell me your thoughts on this. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the only genre that has a requirement is romance, in which you must have the hero and the heroine.
Yes.
As far as I know, and from what I've read, every other genre, it's whatever works for your story.
Well, pretty much murder mysteries are centered on the person trying to figure out the whodunit. That one, you've got to always have a dominant point of view character in those, because that's the person who matters. That's the one you're trying to figure out. How did they figure it out? How are they doing it? So that's another one where you have a really super focused. You can have other points of view, but that has to be your real focused point of view character. And in romance, typically we just have the two, but there are times when, especially if you have romantic suspense, there may be a point of view of a bad guy thrown in once in a while. It can happen. Better authors can do it. Beginning authors probably shouldn't try it. But you can make that work even. So there are rules, but if you know what you're doing, you can twist them a little bit sometimes. I think the biggest cast of characters we see are probably fantasy, science fiction, those genres, especially fantasy. I mentioned Brandon Sanderson. If you're Brandon Sanderson, you can write 12, 15 characters and you can make it work. But till you hit that point, I wouldn't go there.
And sometimes historicals you can get away with as well, because you have to, if it's an epic historical, if you're thinking something like Gone with the Wind, there's a lot of characters because it's a long time period. It's covering a lot of distance physically, but also time-wise. And speaking of time,
We're out.
we'll see you next week. I'm Karen Beery with Right Now Editing.
I'm Peg Thomas.
See ya.
Bye.